Hi everyone, and welcome to this video tutorial about how to translate your game into other languages. And also, probably the most important part for this video is that keeping track of what needs to be translated, because that is very hard. It is so easy to miss something when you want to translate it. So, let's see how I do it for my games. I have made a very simple system. I have implemented it in Godot, but it can also be used for other languages, or sorry, game engines. The concept is very simple. It just needs to be translated into your game engine. So, without further ado, let's go into Godot. I will create a project here on my second monitor, an empty one. Right. And now we have this empty project. So what I want to do is I want to structure a bit this the files here. So we make a folder here and we call it dict. You shouldn't think of this too much. You can call it whatever you like. I just call it dict because that's what I do. So now we have a dict file which will have all of the files important to translation regarded files, basically. All the scripts and all the translation files. And what I want to do here is that I want to import a CSV file. It's gonna call. I'm just gonna drag it from my monitor, and I will also just show you guys what it looks like. It's an empty one with languages defined here at the top. So that's it. Now you can see that there's an X here because Godot doesn't really like it, and that's because we have to go into here, the import tab, and then choose semicolon as our delimiter, because that's how we delimiter. You don't have to use semicolon, but I do it because the odds of me using a comma or a tab inside my strings that I want to translate is more common than me using a semicolon. So I do this. Now you can see that it has made a re-import, or it has made some files here for Spanish and for French. So now we have our translations, but we don't really have any translations yet. We just have the languages as header files for all of our translations so far. So what you want to do is that you want to also go into project settings. This is Godot specific, but you want to go to the translations, localization, and then translations tab. And then you can add the files we've just created. So now Godot knows what it means to translate into this language, Spanish or French. Great. Now for the notes. So, if you don't know, Godot uses something called an autoload or a singleton that can be referenced from anywhere in the project. It's like kind of like a static reference that you can just use anywhere. So what I usually do is that I make some kind of node here, and I usually call it game manager because it just manages the game, and you can always call everything that has. Then it has like a lot of nodes here that you can use, but for now we just want one child node for this. We're gonna call it. It's gonna be just a generic node. We're gonna call it settings because that's gonna be our node with all the settings that we want to use. And for the settings node, we also want to add a child node. It's also just gonna be a generic node. By the way, this could also have been just a node. Doesn't need to be node 2D. I don't know why I picked it. It doesn't really matter. So don't think of it too much. Yeah, and then we wanted to add a child node to the settings. Let's call it localizer. And now we want a script for each of these. So the only thing right now we're gonna use, or in this video we're not gonna use Game Manager for anything else, but we're gonna use it for one thing, and that is attaching a script to it, and that can just be in the root node, doesn't matter. And the only thing we really want here is a reference to our settings node. So we'll take this and put it in. And by the way, for a quick tip in Godot, if you drag it and hold Control down, we get this unready file here. It also asks if you want to save it as a scene. I just clicked Control S, and we do want to keep it just at the root. And then we also want to add a script to this guy, call it settings. We do need this ready method in a bit, but we also do need to do this and add a reference to this guy. So all parent nodes has like a reference to their child node. And finally, we want to go into our project settings, go into globals, find the scene that we want to add to our globals. That's our game manager. And this way, we now have a reference to the game manager node anywhere. So anywhere we are, we can say game manager dot settings, for example. That's it. And then we also just want to add a script to our localizer. And for now, we don't want anything, so we'll just keep it empty. Right. Awesome. So now we have some translation files, a dictionary in a CSV format separated with a semicolon. We have a game manager that has a settings node and a localizer node. Cool. So let's just in here have a path for our what's it called? Our dictionary. So what I'll do is just make I can just make an unready again. Doesn't matter. And then I'll call it path to dict, if I can spell. To dict, and then I will first of all say it's a string. Just I like typecasting, by the way, guys. So you will see me doing that a lot. And then I can right click on this, and I can copy the path, and then we can edit it in here. So now we have a reference to our path, yeah, we have a string, you know, we have a path. Sorry, it's very early in the morning. And then what we want to do is that we want to make a what's it called? A function call here in our ready method, and we'll call the localizer that we have a reference for, and then we'll make a call here for a method that hasn't been defined yet with the path we have just made. So now this is not going to do anything because this doesn't exist, this method. So let's go in and make it. Let's go in here, and then let's make the function here, which is in the end gonna return nothing. And let's see. So first of all, we want to have some kind of way to save what has been added to our dict file. And the easiest way for this is to load our dictionary and store it in some kind of data structure, which I have felt is the easiest way is to make a dictionary of dictionaries. So we make a translations, which will be an empty dictionary at the beginning. So type on ready here, just so we have it all. And I don't typecast this because it's like a dictionary of dictionaries, so I don't know if that's gonna mess up Godot. But what basically it does is that when we access the translations, we say the translations of the language and the word that we want to translate in English, because I will write all of our strings in English in the code. If you want to make it in Spanish, you can also make it in Spanish, but this is just like the word, and then we could just type English, and then the word in language. Let's keep it consistent. Like that. That's the data structure. Okay? So a dictionary is a dictionaries with strings as all keys and values. Okay? So let's make the function here. So load translations. Hello, future me. So for some reason, I decided to talk about this function for way too long. The video got so much longer because I wanted to go in depth with this load translations function. And I think I'm just gonna scrap it because all it really does is that it just loads our dict file into our translations dictionary. And that's it. If you really wanna get a deep dive into it, I can explain it, but it's not rocket science. It's very simple reading of a file functionality. Okay? Back to the video. Alright, now we want our localized method. Um, so let's make a localized method. Localize is basically our translation method, but usually the way I do the localize thing here is that I use it to check what have I added to my dictionary and what haven't I added to my dictionary. So let's see. This is also, not also, it is a string that we return, and then we have the whatever word that we wanna, you know, add. I can also do this here. Okay, so let's see. Usually do this here where I make a what's it called, a property in here that we can check. So while I develop, I try to add all the English words, and while I have when I'm done developing, and the only thing I need to do is that I need to update my dict so that it actually matches all of the English words with all of the languages that I want to translate it to, then we then I do it in another way. So, but while developing, let's do it here. Var only English, so that we only want to check English translations, and we're gonna set it to true. Then we say if only English, then we do something. And what we're gonna do is that we're gonna check whether the key that we've given is in the translations of English, because we only do the English here. We check are you here? Well, then we return this in the with the key as the argument. Boom. Okay, and now it expects something else to be returned because it always expects something to be returned. Then we say here we wanna. This is where we want to, give some kind of message to the developer about, hey, you haven't added this yet. So I would just write this. Else push warning. And then we're gonna write this. Let's see. We're gonna use this some string concatenation here. So like s. Let's take this guy real quick. Just do that. Boop. So this guy in languages, and then just write English because we know it's English here. Is missing in dict.csv file. And then you make a percentage here, and then an array of what you want to add in, which in this case is just the key. And then we return the key. So we just return whatever has been written. We don't return any translation or whatever. Then what we want to do is, if this is not true, what's it called? That the English, only English is not true. See, what do we do then? Well, then we go in here, and then we go in for all of our languages in our translations. So this is all the first like keys. Then we say if this key is not in translations of our language, or translations of our language with that key is empty. Remember, that's what we did here when we didn't have anything translated yet, then we also push a warning. And here we say it needs to be for a language here, right? Then we need to do this. And then is not a keyword. I'm stupid. And then it is a bit annoyed because we haven't returned anything, and then we just say whatever happens, let's return the key, so we don't get an error. But here we return the translation, but this is just to error check basically. It's not what we will be using later on. Okay. And now we need to use this localized method. The way we do that is that we make a new object, so we make a new script here, and we call it dictable. So any string that you want to be dictable. And it's a weird word, but it's just like it's another way of saying, hey, what words do you want to be translated? What words don't you want to be translated? Object. There we go. And for a dictable object, it actually doesn't need to extend node, but needs to extend object, which all things extend from. And then just so we have a reference for it, we need to make it a class name, which now will be called dictable. Okay? And our dictable needs to have a init function that will be the value that we set it for. And this value is just basically sets the value of our dictable. And before we can do this, we need to make our value here. So let's just make it here. Our value, just a string. And then we make a set and a get. So basically, whenever we set the value, which we do here, we take, okay, this new value is, well, the new value. But for the get, don't need the parentheses, but for the get, we say, okay, if the value is not null, which it almost should never be, because whenever you make a new object of dictable, you almost have to, you do actually need to have some kind of argument that sets the value. But so it shouldn't happen, but it's some Godot value null checkings that you just had to do. So if this is true, then we say that our game manager that we now have a reference for because it's an autoload. Go into the settings and then the localizer dot localize value. And if it's not, then we just push error because it's not gonna happen, but let's just think. Getting null value of type dictable, returning empty string, and return something. Oh, nothing. Sorry. So now we have our object. Cool. And I think actually we have everything now. So what we just need to do now is that we have to make nodes to show that it actually works. So let's go. Let's make a new scene here. Let's make it a user interface. And let's call it just a game menu here. Save it as a game menu scene. And then let's just add, let's add it here. Let's say, let's add a VBox container. A VBox container is basically just a container that when you add elements to it, it can be separated and they will be put on top of each other. So let's add buttons here. So let's say button here saying play and a new button. This is credits and a new button quit. And just to be on the safe side, let's just rename these Play button. Credits button. And quit button. Now we have 3 buttons. And I also actually want to add another one, which is gonna be some kind of control node. I forgot what it was called. Let's see. Isn't it a button? Let's see. Option button? Sure. Make an option button. And here we can add some items. We can actually here say English. We add an element again, and we say Spanish. So when we click on it, it will show these. And then here we say French. Right. So now we have these, and these will not do anything, but we will make this do something. So we can, in here, make a script for our game menu. Let's do that. Let's add our script here. Let's call it game menu. And remove this and this. And now what we will want to do is that we will make references for these buttons. Here, here, and here. Now we have references for the buttons again, and then we say, okay, what the text in here we want to be is a dictable, which we're gonna set, and we know it's gonna has to be a play, so let's just do that. And then we get the value. And then we do it for the other ones. Quit. And that's it. So now we know that when we try to get this value, it will do this check for us. It will call the localize method, and it will check, wait, do you have this property inside of your CSV file? So that should work. So let's try it. We know our CSV file. I can open it for you just so you guys can see it. Let me just open it real quick. So we have it here. Let's see. Let's play the game. We're gonna select this as our current one. So we open our play here, and then you can see, oh, we got 3 new warnings. What are the warnings? Well, play, credits, and quit. It's not in English. Let's add it. Play, credits, and quit. Then we can, just for the fun of it, we'll close the program real quick, and then we can re-import, just to be sure, and then we run it again, and we still have these. Why do we do that? I think actually I'm editing a wrong file. Hold on. Open with Notepad. Yeah, there it is. So play, credits, and quit. And close it. So now we open it again and we will have nothing. Well, we have nothing. No warnings. Awesome. Okay, and now for the last thing, we can do this where we check for the other languages. And you remembered in our localizer that we had this boolean up here that we can then say false, so it's not only English, it's every language. Then we try here. Ooh. And now we have 6 errors because we're missing play, credits, and quit in all of our languages. Awesome. So I forgot the translations of the things here. So that's awkward. Well, I'm sorry. I think it's jugar here for Spanish, and then French. I was sorry. I will just say pleu, ploy. That is my Spanish or my French translation. I'm sorry. And then I think it's something Creditos or something. Then it's something like, I don't remember. Let's just say cuidar or something. I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong. Don't judge me. And then here, let's just say uh, Gradoir or something. The French people are gonna murder me. And then excité or something, right? So now we have our translations. Let's rerun the program here and see that we have no errors or warnings, sorry. So everything is up to date. Now what we can do here is that we can go into this button. We can item selected. We can connect a signal, and let's just put it into the scripts. It's okay. So when this is selected, we can go here and we can say, okay, so the let me just think real quick, because now we have like indexes, but maybe we can get the text of them. So I think what we will want to do here is just drag this guy here, and if we then just say option button dot items, maybe. Right, I got it. So we can use this property. Sorry, you can use this property get item text, which will then get the text of whatever index of the option button we're at. So we will here when we click on this English, we'll get the English. So this is English. So just save it up here. So we have it here, and then what we can do is we can call the settings. And now my question is, do we actually want to do that? Can I open this scene real quick? Oh, it's the wrong scene. Because what we want to do is that we want inside of here, we want to let's say maybe like change func change language here, and now let's just not make it this. We also want to make the language we call here. So let's just say language, or let's call it lang here, then string, and then just make an onReady. Let's make it a var here. Var language equals English. That's our standard language. Come, let's call it the right thing, and then we say. I actually forgot. Hold on. Let me just check real quick. Right. What you want to do is you want to use this translation server and then set what language you want to localize as a language here. And I'll just do this real quick. So I say language language is now equal to the lang we've given as an argument. And then we change the language to this language. So what we need to do now is go back to this place and then just say, well, now we have a language. Now we can go to our game manager dot settings dot change language to this language. And then we can try it. English, nothing happens because it's the same language. And now we change it to another language, and now our fake French language, well, I mean, also the Spanish is also wrong, but yeah, that's it. And now everything that you have added will, as a dictable, will now be translated, and also anything that you've made sure to be added into your dict.csv file will be translated. And that's it. So anytime you add something, remember to add it as dictable if you want it to be translated. One more thing for checking, oh, have I actually added everything as a dictable type, or have I added something? What, like, how do I make sure that everything is added? And I have a hacky way of this, but it works. And what I do is that I go into my dictable file, and then I just, for this language, I just add dict here. And this way, it just shows me, okay, what have I added as a dictable? What do I know is being checked if it is inside my CSV file or not? Well, it will be shown with a small dict here. You can also make it space here. You know, okay, dict here, so I don't need to translate that, don't need to translate that, don't need to translate that. And that's it. Um, yeah. Let me know what you guys think of it. Okay, really quick, guys. I just wanted to show you guys how it looked in an actual game. So, this is the game that me and my friend have been working on for a year now. It's called Darko's Auction. It's well, we know there's a spelling mistake here, so don't worry, we know, we'll fix it. But it's a game that we've been working on for a year, and we are kind of proud of. Also hate it, you know, love and hate relationship. Anyways, we just wanted to show you how it actually looks with the translation in our game. So you can see here that all the dict, like hacky way of checking, well, have I added it to my dictionary? Have I added it to my dictionary? And it shows here, well, here we have. And we will get an error if we haven't added it to our dictionary. Or at least the dict here is just saying that we have added it as a dictable. So that means that if it's not in the dictionary, then it will be printed as a warning. And when I go in here, when I go in here, I can actually see inside of my um, warning log. I can't show it to you guys right now, but I get a warning saying that I haven't added hot seat PvP to my dict file. So what I will have to do here is that I will have to add it in my dict file. So if I just quickly go ahead and open it, I will add the line now with the hot seat PvP. You can see it here. I've added it right here as the last one. So now I won't be getting a warning anymore. And if we go back here to our settings, we could see that the title here of the video actually doesn't have a dict. So that's not even being cast as a dictable item, which is wrong because it should be translated. So what we will have to do here is also update the dict file with the video. So now I've added this as well. I have this. We have added these two lines here, so that should be good. And we should also cast this as a dictable. So if we go back, and I will just open up a script. Right here I have it. Then we have a reference here. You can see my structure here, but you can imagine what it looks like. So this is basically our label title of the video. So we add a reference to that. And then we cast it just like the other things here as a dictable. So now when we, oops, I just closed everything I have. Now when we run the program, we also have it inside of our dictionary file here. So we can, by closing down the CSV and just re-importing it, just to be sure, we can run it. And the game is right here. And then we can see that if we go back to our settings, that it has been added as a dict type. And I will get warnings if it's not here. But I can see in my error log or debug log with the warnings that there isn't a sign of a video not being inside of my dictionary. So we should have done what we had to do. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked the video.